As far as endings go, I doubt you'll find one more bluntly symbolic than that. Edmund O'Brien has to be acknowledged for another unique aspect of his performances: sweating. He is without question the sweatiest man in noir. And when he combined all that perspiration with the unraveling of his lofty pompadour, well, then nobody looked more desperately disheveled. In Shield for Murder, he may have outsweated his legendarily wet work in DOA. It makes me wonder if he managed all this on his own or if he had a personal spritzer on the set, keeping him nice and moist as the plot spiraled out of control. Now, the role of Barney's superior, Captain Gunnarsson, was played by Emil Meyer, who was literally picked out of a crowd and handed a Hollywood career. Meyer was working as a longshoreman in his hometown of New Orleans when Fox decided to shoot Panic in the Streets on location there. Director Elia Kazan pulled him from a group of extras and gave him a few lines. And from then on, Meyer worked steadily, playing what writers would call rough-hewn types. Emil Meyer seemed very genuine, tossing off a line like, "Write his story good."
You were a police officer acting in the line of duty. Nobody gouges us for that as long as I'm in this office. We gave you a gun and the authority to use it. One is no good without the other.
John Agar also took an interesting route to the movies. In 1945, he married America's sweetheart, Shirley Temple, prompting David O. Selznick to offer him a contract. Well, he and Temple split up in 1950, but Agar maintained a career way into the 1990s. And I'm sure many of you recognize Beth, the striking blonde in the cocktail lounge, as Morticia Adams, a.k.a. Carolyn Jones, one of the most distinctive, if underused, actresses of the 1950s. At the time she made this film, Jones was married to Aaron Spelling, who was not yet the incredibly successful television producer he'd become in the 1960s. By the time that happened, he and Carolyn Jones had already divorced, which I note only for the fact that Jones requested no alimony, claiming she was capable of taking care of herself. While we're on the subject of blondes, which Carolyn Jones was until she changed her look for the 1957 film Bachelor Party, adopting that black bob that briefly became her trademark, here's our viewer question of the week. Marie-Claire Giraud says, most film noir female leads are platinum blonde. Is there a reason behind that? Well, my answer, Marie-Claire, is you need to watch Noir Alley every week. Then you'll see that most female leads in noir are not blonde, platinum or otherwise. In fact, I can think of only 4 blonde actresses who appeared regularly in noir: Veronica Lake, Audrey Totter, Evelyn Keyes, and Adele Jurgens. Frankly, there were just as many blonde men: Alan Ladd, Richard Widmark, Dan Duryea, and Sterling Hayden. When I think of femme fatales, especially from the 40s, it's dark-haired dames like Ava Gardner, Jane Greer, Marie Windsor. Blondes didn't become as prominent as sex symbols until the 50s, with the advent of Marilyn Monroe, Jane Mansfield, and Mamie Van Doren. Despite the rare exception, like a bleach blonde Rita Hayworth and the lady from Shanghai, females in noir are mostly brunettes, like the 2 most prominent noir actresses, Joan Crawford and Barbara Stanwyck. Well, although Stanwyck did wear that wig in Double Indemnity. Now, next week I'll be back with another bad cop noir, one rescued and restored by my Film Noir Foundation. Until then, remember, the shortcut to Easy Street always goes through Noir Alley.